Hello and welcome to the first episode of the Heal Podcast. I'm Bobby, joined by my awesome co-host,
I'm Morgan.
and yeah, we're super excited to be able to start this and bring this to you. A little bit about ourselves, I guess. So I am Bobby. I am a junior up at Penn State, and I am majoring in cybersecurity, and I am the Alt Funds Chair this year for Heal on their exec board.
Awesome. I'm Morgan. I'm also a junior or going into my junior year at Penn State. I'm a supply chain management major with a minor in bioethics. This year, I am our donor relations or one of our donor relations chairs. I'm super excited for that. I've been in HEAL since my freshman year. And we're just basically bringing this podcast to life, kind of out of a conversation that me and Bobby have had about wanting people to be able to still connect with us. This was kind of born in the idea of COVID 19 and all of the restrictions put on us, but we felt like this would be an awesome way to bring us all together. So this was kind of just born out of a conversation and the both of us kind of just talking about our want to maybe one day have a podcast. And this seemed like the perfect topic.
Yeah, so here we are. We have our own podcast. So we'll go ahead and now that we've introduced things, get into our first interview. Yeah, you guys are going to get to hear from our good friend Maggie. She is the president of Heal, and we can jump right into that now. But we just wanted to introduce things and say thank you for taking the time to listen to us. And we are live. So we're joined here with Maggie Duffy, the president of Heal. Maggie, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Well, hi everyone. I'm Maggie. I'm going to be in my fifth year at Penn State. I'm doing a grad program. So I have my undergrad in special education, and I'm getting my master's in curriculum and instruction with a reading specialist certification. So I've been here a while. I love it. I love every year. And I've been involved in HEAL for this will be my fifth year now since freshman year. So super excited. I love it. Love everything about it.
Awesome.
Wow,
Great to hear.
awesome. So, how did you get involved with Heal? Why Heal?
Why Heal? Okay, so honestly, I was involved in Minithon in high school and I loved it, but it was kind of just like an extra thing that I did. And my freshman year was really rough for me. I didn't adapt super well to it. Um, so about halfway through, so I guess coming back into the spring semester in January, one of my best friends from high school, Ethan, shout out to Ethan, our families are friends, and he brought me along to a HEAL meeting, and he had found it through a friend of his who was on club cross country. It was a small group. I loved that. It felt very homey. Um, Everyone knew my name immediately, and that was a big deal to me. I like really struggled freshman year to like find my people, and after that first meeting, like I knew that was it. So it was awesome.
Yeah, I definitely agree. He has a great vibe going. So, why do you think what's kept you at this point where you wanted to be so involved and move up to a position where you're at now as president of the org?
Well, like I said, HEAL's become my family. Honestly, my best friends are in HEAL. My three roommates this upcoming year are all in HEAL as well, and obviously love you, Morgan and Bobby. So I love that aspect of it, and it kind of became my thing at Penn State, and it's just super fun, that kind of family atmosphere. We hang out outside of thon activities, and then on top of that, we have a super amazing Thon family, the Tuckies, who have been there since my freshman year. And Becca is so spunky and so fantastic. And just getting to know her has driven me to continue and HEAL and continue to support them. And then on top of that, we have a new Thon family, the Hesses, and Kim and Caroline and their whole family are so fun. And I think that the families are a huge part of like the driving force behind why I want to be so involved, because I've seen firsthand how much we can impact their lives. Um, both of our families are currently, knock on wood, outside of their cancer journey. So it's been really cool to see how we're still so involved in their lives once that's passed and how important we are to them. And I think it's really, really life changing.
I
I
agree.
totally agree. Every time that anyone asks me like why I thon, I guess that happens a lot right around thon. We always talk about why we thon, after thon, and then even in committees, we always talk about reasons why we're here, and our families are always the number one thing that I bring up. I mean, there's so many reasons that I thon, but for sure our families have just been such a blessing for all of us. So I totally agree, and I know you have background in being FR, so that's special too, and you definitely got to form a neat relationship with them just by being in contact all year. So super special.
Absolutely. That was one of the coolest things of getting paired with our new family too, was just being that first line of communication and getting to introduce them to the org. And same with the Tuckies whenever we have new members. It's just so exciting because I want them to get to know them like I know them. And it's so fun and it's so exciting every year.
No, definitely. And I think Keel's actually really lucky too because we have two families that are very hands-on with our org, so it makes it very easy for us to build that connection with them. Not that there's anything wrong with families that maybe don't want to be as involved in the whole process, because at the end of the day, um, the reason we're doing things and the reason things are happening aren't necessarily the greatest of circumstances. But we are very lucky that we do have two families that are very involved with us and make it very easy to build that connection and have that friendship and that, I mean, realistic, that whole heel family aspect together.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I think we're really lucky.
We were so lucky to have both our families at Thon this year too. I'm sure as a dancer, Maggie, that was huge, to just be able to see them and all of that.
Honestly, yeah, having them there, I know there's been years where they can't be, and that stinks, and it makes sense that they're not there. But like you said, they're the reason why we thon and why we dance. So having them there to support us is so awesome. And especially now that Becca is older and Kim's obviously older, they really understand how much it means when they're there on the floor for us as well. So it was exciting.
While we're on the topic, yeah, you did. So you did dance in Thon 2020. You made it all 46 hours. Very proud of you. Do you want to just tell us a little bit about what it was like, some of your experiences, some stories maybe?
Honestly, it was crazy. I don't even know how to describe it. You hear from like past dancers when you're thinking about dancing, and people will tell you all the time. Like I have family friends who danced when Thon was just starting. So you hear all these stories and you think that you're prepared, and you get there and it is so overwhelming in the absolute greatest sense. It's You get to see on the floor, it's a different perspective too. Like you look up and you see all those people in the BJC, and you're all there for that weekend for the same reason. And interacting with people on the floor, just the families, you see all the different families, their kids, their boyfriends, their girlfriends. Um, it's just, it's crazy. It really, really is. And it can get hard, but it's totally worth it. I never thought that coming out of Thon weekend I'd want to dance again, but if given the opportunity, like, I absolutely would. It's an amazing experience, and yeah, like you have to fight through the pain at some points, but it's obviously nothing compared to what our Thon children have fought through. So it really gives you a great perspective on the whole thing, and it just makes the weekend even more special. So
Awesome.
So while we're on it, what was your favorite dancer meal?
my favorite dancer meal. Okay, well,
There's a right answer here, Maggie.
it was when Bobby dropped down the roots. That was Roots Natural Kitchen. I don't know. Some
Yep.
people might not know what that is. It is phenomenal. I lived right next to it this past year. It was my favorite thing ever. I would get it all the time, and Bobby brought it to me. And then not even like, actually, I have no concept of
It was probably 20 minutes later.
pretty shortly after.
Yeah.
That was one of the meals that they gave us. But
I was so angry. I was so upset.
I didn't even eat the one that Thon gave us, but that was great. And at one point, they had like little cups of Ritas. That was probably the other thing that was like huge. They were just passing around Ritas. So that was awesome.
Yeah, Roots was an absolute struggle to get in there. It
Yeah.
probably took me. I had to wait in line at Roots before. It was probably, I think it was like 3 p.m. Saturday, and I rolled up to Roots. I was like, I'll grab this really quick. I'll get in there, and then I'll throw it down to you guys. First of all, I had to sneak it in. So I wrapped it in our like nice final four T-shirts,
Oh my
which
gosh.
it like spilt oil all over, so my entire shirt was ruined.
No, Bobby.
So I snuck it in. I did sneak it in. Like they didn't find it, which is great because I pride myself on being able to do that. Sorry, Thon, but I do sneak food in, and you'll never stop me. Um, but I got it in. I.
You're not doing it for anyone.
It's
except for
no,
our
it's
dad.
it's not malicious. I promise.
Yeah.
I mean, but like, come on, the food in there's expensive. Either way, grabbed it, threw it down to you guys, like, and then literally 20 minutes later, they're like, "Come get your Roots dancers," and I was like, "You are kidding me!" Like, I just spent a solid 45 minutes in line to get this for you, and then I
Was this
brought it all the way
before or
in.
after? Was that before or after we had to
That was
get our
before.
stands back? Okay.
That was before. Yeah,
it was
that's a
so
story for another
bad.
day.
Yeah, we'll talk about that
We
every
can
day.
talk about that a different day. I don't want to talk
Well,
about that
we're
today.
jealous though, Bobby. When you dropped that down, first off, everyone was impressed. They're like, he dropped a full Roots bowl down.
Yeah.
She caught it.
They're big. They're
And
like,
people were like, oh my gosh. Yeah, I shared it with Carrie.
Yeah.
She was so excited. It was great. That was absolutely it. And then the final thing was in the last hours, like I want to say it was like the last 2 hours of Thon, we finally found the cheese sticks. Like they didn't have
Where were they
cheese
hidden?
all weekend. I don't know because I checked the fridge because everyone was like, there's cheese sticks, and I freaking love cheese sticks. And I couldn't find them. And we finally found the cheese sticks in like literally the final 2 hours. Kate was walking around with us and I thought I was gonna cry. I was like, this is the greatest thing. I took
Yeah,
like
right.
10.
When you're rocking that
Yeah.
extreme sleep deprivation and cheese sticks just push you over the edge.
Exactly.
Yeah, 44 hours of standing, 7 cheese sticks, like the best thing to happen
Yeah.
Oh my
ever.
gosh, it was like heavenly.
That's awesome.
Disgusting how many I
I
ate.
remember I remember all of you when you saw the pretzels too. I think I started just grabbing them and bringing them because it was just something different other than like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, which is great, but after a while I'm sure it just gets to be a lot or too much of the same
Yeah.
thing.
I was gonna say I threw down a couple soft pretzels. I think I spent like $30 on pretzels at Thon, and I was just like throwing them down to you guys because you guys were like, "Can I get a pretzel?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, as long as my wallet allows." But luckily, I'm not bankrupt, so we're good. I've recovered
Yeah, sure.
very well.
It's just time to open it. It's fine.
Yeah, right. I've recovered financially from Thon. It's okay. So while we're on the topic still, I guess, what's the most memorable like performance that happened while you were dancing?
While I was dancing this year,
I mean, I guess you
think
could go overall, but
Okay. Well, overall, this is just me because it happened to be my favorite band of all time. Mr. Wives came my sophomore year. Kylie Whitehead will also attest to this. We were literally crying in the stands. I was like shaking. That was also the year I passed out at Thon, so that was a really fun thing. Another story for another time.
yep.
After missing Joe Jonas freshman year, I was really upset. So
Another story for another time, right?
Another story for another time. So many Thon stories. But probably this year, I'm trying to think. Actually, it's not like one thing, but anytime a dance crew came up and then there was like a dancer in Thon in that dance crew, like that was so cool to me because they would have their numbers on and I'm like, I'm tired and you're getting up here, like first off, you're remembering your choreography and you're like giving it your all and like at the point where it would be like hour 30, anytime during the weekend, but like especially later in the weekend, I was always so impressed by that and I thought that was so cool because I was like, yo,
Yeah, how are you doing that, right? Like, how can you? I can't even do that on like a normal, well-rested schedule.
Or like the Nittany Lion, I can't remember his name. He danced
Oh,
this year.
yeah.
He was like he was in the Nittany Lion costume like half the time. That's so impressive. And he was always on stage like hyping people up. I was like, I need you to give me some of that
Yeah, right.
energy.
Yeah, he was up there, I think, for the final total reveal. And
Yes.
I remember thinking like, oh my gosh. I mean, I was up a lot that weekend, but nothing compared to dancers who were up the entire weekend. And I was like, I'm done. Like I'm ready to
Yeah.
sit down and jumping up and down, like so excited. It was awesome. I give him so much props for doing that. I give all the dancers props, but to put on that sweaty suit inside the
Oh yeah.
BJC,
No
yeah.
way.
No, definitely. All right, so I'm gonna move us away from Thawne. As much fun as it is to talk about it. This is the whole like first episode of this heel podcast. That's the name we're going with for right now. It's like
Works.
The
we
heel
can
cast.
figure it. I don't. Heelcast sounds good, but like we'll see. We'll have people vote or something. We'll figure it out. We're doing things new. Um, so I guess we'll just start with looking to the future of this year. So you're president of Heel. We've said that. What are you most excited about? Like, what are you looking forward to doing?
I think I'm most excited. This is going to be like our first full year with both the Hesses and the Tuckies, and I'm really excited to develop our relationship with both families further, obviously, but get them to know each other and get them to know the org because we were paired with the Hesses right before Thon, and then right after Thon, unfortunately, the whole country world closed.
Yeah,
So just being able to kind of develop those relationships and like I mentioned earlier, that's the main reason that I'm involved in Thon. I love our families and I love interacting with them. So I want everyone else to have that same like love for our families. So I think that's probably like my biggest goal moving forward, especially if we have to continue where we can't see our families in person, just developing those relationships in other ways. So
yeah, no, I agree. I think it's going to be a very interesting fall semester. Just seeing how things play out, what we're allowed to do, how we're allowed. I mean, even with just general org stuff, like how are we going to be able to do meetings? How are we going to be able to do fundraisers? So that's actually one of the reasons we're starting this. Is just another way we can socially distance while still, providing something at least for to keep everyone involved, everyone up to date, and I mean as well as everyone who's graduated or people who might not even be affiliated with Heal that just want to learn about Thawne or learn about what Heal does. So I'm excited.
Yeah. This was kind of all just born out of the idea that podcasts are kind of nice to listen to.
True.
I know I had said like I've always kind of wanted to have a podcast, but I didn't even know what a topic would be. And this is like the absolute perfect topic because it's something that we're all so passionate about. And just something fun to like listen to on your way to work or when you have a little bit of downtime, you can throw in your headphones or listen to it on a speaker, whatever it is. It's just kind of a nice thing. You don't have to sit down and watch, so you can just kind of always have it on, stay up to date, and something that I'm super excited about for sure.
Can hang out with Morgan and I at least once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks. We'll see how often we do these, but just some
yeah,
things to do.
Yeah.
when you guys came to me with this idea, like I was so excited because I was getting super nervous about how we could get new people in and just keep all of our current friends up to date. And
Yeah.
I think that this is great. I love podcasts, so
Right.
I'm excited.
So this is the perfect opportunity then. Looking forward to new people coming in, what words of wisdom do you have to impart to them? For someone who has no idea, what is Thawne, what is a special interest org versus a committee, and why should I join it and be involved? Why should I care?
All right, that is a loaded question.
I know.
Let's start with
Hey, we got time.
what's Thon. I mean, I feel like we probably should have started with this if you're listening and you don't know what Thon is. But
We'll get there.
very, very blanket. Thon is Penn State's 46-hour dance marathon. So it happens weekend in February every year. There's about 700 so dancers that'll dance for 46 hours for different clubs, sororities, teams, and everything. And the whole purpose is we're raising money for pediatric cancer through Penn State's Four Diamonds Fund, which is based out of their Hershey Center. So we have these Thon families, obviously, that we're representing. Different clubs and teams and stuff are paired with them, and we spend all year fundraising money for them so that they don't have to worry about any of these bills and they can just support each other and get through this terrible cancer journey. But we want to not only support them financially, but we want to support them in just their everyday life as well. So, like I mentioned again, Becca and Kim thankfully are not currently battling cancer, but we love to support them and their families. We've gone to some of Becca's field hockey games. We're going to be sending Caroline some cards for her birthday, which is super exciting. And we do things like that. So that is what Thon is in a very, very broad nutshell.
Yeah.
And then HEAL specifically is a special interest org. So it's a type of club at Penn State that is specifically devoted to Thon. So our main goal of our club is to fundraise for Thon and to support our families. Now, other clubs, I can't even think of an example. Like
I mean-
I'm also involved in Best Buddies. Best
Yep.
Buddies can have a Thon like part of it, but our club is specifically dedicated to Thon. So that's what a special interest org is, and we're really special because we're on the smaller side. We probably have about 50 or so active members at a given time. And for me, I think that's awesome because you get to know every single person and you get to develop those relationships and you get to be able to meet the families. Like that's a huge goal of ours every year, is to make sure that like all of our new members get a chance to meet our families. Versus some of the bigger ones, which they're great too, but like they can have upwards of 400 or more people, and you just don't get to know everyone on that personal level. So yeah, that's what a special interest org is. I'm not
You're
even
doing great.
close
You are killing it.
to-
I mean, we could just talk a little bit about special interest orgs. Well, we can get onto the
Okay.
rest of it, but yeah. So, I have a lot of friends who don't go to Penn State and don't really understand the whole Thon thing. So a lot of people are like, why are you breaking up into these different groups and almost making it like a competition, basically, between us. So I mean, at the end of the day, we're breaking up and we're making it a competition, but we're all like doing this for the same reason, and that's to help out these families and help out these kids that are going through so much. And a little bit of friendly competition goes a long way. I'm just as determined to out fundraise another group as I am to make a difference. But by doing that, I'm not intentionally trying to sabotage other groups, and no one does. So it really just adds some friendly competition. But also, when you break up this way, you get smaller support groups for all the families that are involved. So you don't have to worry about meeting with a whole group of 20,000 Penn State students. It's just your small group that you get to hang out with. So that's one of the reasons why we break up and we compete. It's all in good fun. There's no bad blood or anything. I love everyone in any org. At the end of the day, if you're in an org, you're trying to make a difference, and that's what really counts. And you are making a difference if you are in an org. So congratulations to you for that.
Great thing about the smaller special interest orgs too is that we can pair up, and we have in the past, and like that's the huge goal for the future too, is to work together. And sometimes like we've worked with Tetra for our pasta dinner night, and right before Thon, we usually pair up with Every Day so that we can all get to know each other before we come together in the stands Thon weekend. So it's really nice because with those smaller groups, you can also come together and do bigger things. And I think it's like you said, those smaller groups also are a great way to develop those relationships with each other and with our families. And we don't want to ever overwhelm them. And this way, Kate is great with names. God bless her, but like
Yeah, right.
she also has a better opportunity to get to know everyone more personally because we're smaller. So
I like to think about it too. If there's a bunch of smaller and also some larger orgs, and we're all fundraising, it's so many people fundraising instead of just one person. And if you think about it, like that many more people who are getting close contact, like direct communication with people, trying to get them to go out and support, you can just try and make an even bigger impact, which I think is super special. And also, I love supporting other orgs, fundraisers, and things like that. It's so much fun to go to like a restaurant fundraiser with your friends or anything like that. Maybe it's a bracelet sale, whatever it is. It is fun to everyone support each other.
yeah, because in the end, it all goes to Thon, and like that's what we're working for. So
Definitely. Yeah. All right. So we've mentioned special interest orgs, and there's another group of thon related things you could do, and that's called committees.
Right.
So
That was the
let's
other part.
divulge into the difference between, special interest orgs, committees. What do they do? Can you do both? The answer is yes. So Maggie,
Right.
take it away.
All right, Morgan might have more to say on this
Probably,
than
yeah,
I
actually.
probably. She has been involved in a committee. I personally have not. But the way to think about it is committees basically work on weekend. They are like the powerhouse behind setting it all up and making sure it runs smoothly. And I can't, off the top of my head, think of how many different committees there are, but there are a
16, I
bunch of
think.
different committees.
There's a
Okay.
lot.
So there are a lot of different committees you can be involved in, but basically they all have different things. There's like merchandise, so you could run like all the different stands throughout the weekend. There's the dancer relations, and they're paired with a dancer and they help them get through the weekend. There's communications, there's R&R, which is rules and reg. There's hospitality. They run the food. Like there's everything. And you basically spend all year on a committee. So you get put onto a smaller group of people again, and you'll have a captain, and you'll plan for whatever committee you're on, like I said, Haas or communications or whatever. And then basically you'll like work on weekend. But on top of that, like Bobby said, you can do both. You can be in an org and you can be on a committee like Morgan is, and like so many of our other members are. And it's great because it gives you the opportunity to be involved in both sides of Thon, because come Thon weekend, orgs like ourselves have been fundraising all year, but we're basically there just to support our families and support our dancers. And we don't have to worry about working or doing anything that weekend. But yeah, if you want to do both, it's so easy to do both. We typically have our meetings on Monday nights. Some committees might have their meetings, but we always put out recaps. Like we always encourage you to be involved in both ends if that's something you want to do.
You can listen to the podcast now to stay up to date if you
Yeah,
miss a meeting,
exactly.
right? Just like that.
So many
So.
opportunities.
The way that I like to think about it when it comes to committees is kind of looking at the executive board for all of Thon. So you have, what is it, your executive director, who is basically in charge like of everything Thon. So like if you were looking at a country, it would be like your president, maybe, if I guess if that's a good analogy.
Yeah, that's good enough.
And then underneath your executive director are your directors, and so there's a director for each. What is that called? It's like committee
Each
almost.
committee,
so like
yeah,
for
the division of.
dancer relations, you have a director, and for merchandise, you have a director, and for hospitality, you have a director, and then underneath those directors, they interview and choose captains. And there's some captains who have committees and there's some captains who don't have committees. So if you're looking to be involved in a committee, then you would interview, and a captain would basically interview you and then decide if you would be a good fit on their committee or if you would be a better fit on a different committee, kind of just to help with that whole process. And then you would be on that committee. So I know that sounds like a lot, but it just kind of help to just visualize it, that you have your executive director, your directors, and then your captains kind of report to the directors. The director kind of like oversees everything, and then you and a committee, as a committee member, would have your captain who's kind of like your leader. And then branching out of that again is special interest orgs and fraternities and sororities and club sports and all of those things. I didn't understand all of that until I think like after my freshman year thon, because there's so much to take in, but you don't have to understand it all like the way that it runs or anything. Really all you need to, I think, to join an org is just to have an interest in helping these families and these children and having a common bond with the people that you're working with. And I really do think you'll be set to go. And the rest of the learning or anything else that you want to know, you can find out very quickly.
Yeah, and go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, pointing on something you said, the biggest thing is it's so hard to explain Thon and to understand it until you've been there, like Thon weekend. Like it's every year I'll step into the BJC and I'm just like blown away. So we can try to tell you like all these different things, but you're still gonna like walk in Thon weekend, like your first Thon, and you're gonna be like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
this is crazy. This is amazing. I can't believe that people have been working towards this all year and like this is it. So
Yeah, it's
sorry for
just
interrupting.
no, you're good. This is not like a formal thing. You're fine. But it's just crazy to like look at it, and it's really complex. But this is also, I mean, think about it. This is the largest run, like student run philanthropy in the world. So it's so insane just to see, like, as a student, my fellow peers are able to pull this whole thing off. Like tens of millions of dollars every year being raised. So yeah, it's super complex, but sometimes just like take a step back. You don't necessarily have to be the cog in the machine. Just take a look at it and admire it and just appreciate for like Thon for what it is, and it's this student run fundraiser that like makes tens of millions of dollars every year, which is so awesome to see. All right, cool. So next point of topic, how we feeling? Covered a lot of cool
Feeling
stuff.
good.
Great. Yeah, you better be. It's summertime. It looks so nice where you're at. I'm so jealous. It is
Thanks.
pouring
That's what I
here.
say.
It's all right.
Really?
So
It's raining? Where are you, Pittsburgh?
yeah, it rains in Pittsburgh a lot.
That's
What a
sad.
surprise, right?
It rains in Pittsburgh a lot?
Only the sky's like never. It's always just a different shade of gray. Sometimes things fall out of it. Other times nothing does. But the sun doesn't
It's
live
been
here.
like it's been so hot. I'm from New Jersey and it is hot. It was like
Toasty.
100 degrees the other day. I'm sure it's hot where you guys are too. We're really all not that far away from each other. Um, but I hope everyone's been staying nice and cool for this summer. It's been just a different kind of summer. I
Yeah.
like to say this is the longest spring break we've ever had because we went home for spring break from Penn State and we are still
Yeah.
technically on spring break because we never went back to school. But
So I've got a question for both of you. So Vaughn's summer fundraising window opened July 1st, I believe.
Yes.
Have you guys seen any sort of fundraisers going on? Had any experience with the summer fundraising? Because I myself have not. So just curious. I probably should, right? Because I am alt funds, but oops. It's been an interesting summer. So
It's definitely been an interesting summer. Personally, I haven't wanted to push fundraising on people right now just because I know some people are in hard economic times and I don't want to push people to go out and about with a pandemic going on. So that has been my perspective on the whole thing. But I also haven't seen any sort of fundraising from any other special interest orgs. I think the only thing I saw was there was a sorority that paired with like a little Etsy shop or boutique or something like that, and part of their sales was going to Thon. But I think that's the only thing I've seen. I honestly haven't even heard all that much from our fundraising liaison. So yeah, I don't know. It's weird. It's so strange.
Right? The world is just upside down right now. How about you, Morgan?
yes. I feel similar to Maggie, and it's such a hard time, and you can go from family to family, person to person, and everyone's kind of been experiencing um, this phase of life, this pandemic, in a different way. I mean, even when we were locked down in quarantine, everyone was experiencing it differently. Some people were nurses and doctors and essential workers who were going out every day. And then there's friends that you talk to who would say that they hadn't left their house in a couple of weeks because that's was just their situation and they were able to not have to leave a lot. So, and I think that that trend kind of continues as we've moved forward. In some states, people are going back to work. I know where I am, a lot of people aren't back at work, and there are some people who are working from home. Maybe some people are waiting to hear if they can go back to work because some companies were just put in tough situations. Um, so it's just kind of this really strange time. Like I know every time that I talk to friends in different states, it's like, oh, how many people are allowed to eat outside at where you
Right.
are? Like, I know I'm not even allowed to eat inside a restaurant right now just because that's my New Jersey government's decision. And Pennsylvania handles it differently than Virginia does, and Connecticut and California. Everyone is kind of just experiencing this differently. So it's um, hard because it's just a completely different starting place than what we've seen in years past. I know as donor relations, I've kind of felt the same thing as both of you. It's like we do want to raise money, but you also have to understand just where people are coming from.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
I think I really do want to better understand kind of what the goal is this year, where everyone's minds are at as far as fundraising and how we think we can best relate to everyone. And I am looking forward to going back to school for that because obviously we can talk a bunch over the summer, but it's hard. Everyone's working different schedules. Some people are working at night when most people can talk, and some people are working in the middle of the day. It's just really hard to all get together. So I am looking forward to being back in school for a lot of reasons, but also just being able to be on the same schedules and hopefully being able to see each other a little bit more, all those types of things. So I don't know if that answered your question, but that's kind of
Yeah,
my
I mean that's
feelings.
pretty good. I'll actually jump off of something you said that I really agree with. That it's tough right now with the world the way it is. People are coming, people have lost their jobs, struggling financially. But I think something that one of the things that makes Thon so impactful for these families and it's so feel good for us, I guess, for lack of better terms. We're not just there for financial support. We're there for emotional support. We're there to be a support network for these families, and they're going through the same thing, compounded by what they've been going through before. So it's really it feels good to be able to be there for them, especially in times like these, and to know that we do have an impact, even if that impact isn't monetary at this point. Um, so
Yeah, I agree. And I just want to let everyone listening know too that like going off that support system for our family, we're also a support system for each other. Like you guys are my best friends. I love you all. And even for the people that I don't know as well, please reach out to me. I'm sure Morgan and Bobby feel the same way. And the rest of our exec team too. Like we're here to talk with anyone and we're always here, like throughout the year as well. Please at any point reach out to us. We want to support each other through everything. So
yeah, Heel's a family, so we gotta
Yeah,
look out for each other.
I totally agree. I know we all met on Zoom the other day, or as many of us as possible did to make cards kind of all together. We would normally do that together, but obviously with just circumstances, we did it over Zoom, and it's really nice to be able to talk to people that I know are like some of my best friends, and to just kind of voice any concerns too. Like I know that I have my anxiety and thoughts in the back of my mind about going back to school and what it's going to look like. It's tough because you're around all these people that you really want to see, but you're also a little hesitant to go running out with open arms and hugging them and all of those types of things because we all still want to be safe. And I think that kind of just carries over to everyone in this world as things are changing. We're no longer necessarily in quarantine, but you'd still want to maybe keep your circle small. Any of those kinds of things, like any suggestions that anyone has, anything that concerns them, makes them feel better about a situation or less comfortable, like anything like that. Or just if you even need to just talk. I know sometimes just having someone that can talk and listen just can go a long way, and I'm always open to that.
Cool, awesome. All right, so coming back to campus. Um, yeah, I mean, what what's it gonna look like for Heel? What do you think it'll look like? Because obviously we have no clue. So
I wish I could give you a better answer than I'm
right?
about to give you.
Oh no,
I have no clue.
that's
Penn
better than
State
could be worse.
obviously is doing one thing at a time, but they haven't said anything about clubs in any way, shape, or form, except that our involvement fair is going to be virtual. So Yeah, in general, we won't be in Willard this year, no matter what, because Willard is closed for renovations. Oh darn, so sad. We'll have to figure out a new
That's
We'll
building.
figure it out.
beautiful. Yeah.
But I don't have any clue. I'd love to think that we could meet like we usually would, but I don't know that that's going to be possible. Maybe we'll have to meet in an apartment, but then again, like I don't want to push people to come to something if they're not comfortable with it. So I think especially the first few weeks, it's going to be really touch and go, and we'll kind of have to just try out different things. And hopefully, as soon as I find something out about clubs, I can let everyone know. But currently, Penn State has kind of been quiet
Yeah.
on the subject. So,
One
Yeah,
step at a
I mean,
time, right?
for anyone listening that maybe doesn't know the whole situation with what Penn State put out today, do we just want to go over that really briefly?
Sure. What did they put out today?
Yeah, like their plan, because I know
I didn't see it.
I haven't looked at it yet.
yeah.
Go ahead.
You
You
wanna
guys,
go forward?
you guys could take the lead because I didn't read it, so a little unprepared. My bad.
Well, what we've heard, I guess, so far was just that they will be sending out tests to people before we go back to school. I don't think it's everyone, from what you were saying, Maggie, right? It's
Yeah,
in
I don't think so.
um like in, I guess, like quote unquote hot spots in areas like
Yeah.
that where they see cases rising. And then when we're back at school, they're looking to test a certain number of students each day, students and faculty each day, so that they can make sure that the virus stays as much at bay as possible, I guess.
Yeah. So I think it's like 1% of students, faculty, staff. So it ends up being about like 700 or so people. But yeah, my camera. They're doing the best that they can, I think. And like I said, I think we're just gonna have to be flexible, and that's all right. You guys have already come up with this great idea for a podcast, and I think we're just gonna have to think really outside the box this semester. And as things change, I guess we'll have to change, but like that's fine. We'll work with it. We'll do our best.
Yeah, I agree. This is actually an exciting semester for me because I am setting up a lot of these fundraisers, and it's a great opportunity to think of something new. Because if I don't think of something new, we're in trouble. So what do you guys think fundraisers are going to look like? Honestly, like at this point, I know we do have at least one restaurant fundraiser already approved through Think, and I can talk a little bit about how that one's going to go because it's going to be different than the usual stuff. But like, what type of stuff do you think we're going to be seeing?
I think it's going to be a lot. I think restaurant fundraisers, like you said, there's one already approved. I mean, people can still get takeout. It'll, I, restaurant fundraisers, people like to eat, especially in college. They don't like to cook their own meals.
People do enjoy eating. That is a true
exactly,
statement.
Right? We always say we love to eat together and heal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's just gonna have to be like innovative. Maybe more things like our bracelet sales last year, and we might have to offer the option to like do a lot of like online ordering sort of things and going and dropping things off for people, or having like meetup points for pickup. So I don't know. Talk about your restaurant fundraiser, Bobby.
Yeah. So shout out to DP Dough because they have already approved everything with us. So we're set. September 9th is the day we were given. Be there, be square. You don't need a flyer. We'll probably have a flyer out anyways though. And it's 15% of all sales from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. But they don't have eat-in, and it's weird because one of us needs to be there from 5 to 9. But we're only allowed to have one of us because I was talking with the owner, and they were like, "Yeah, this just with the way things are, we're trying to stay true to what we do with fundraisers, which I applaud them because they help out so many people by doing this. But they have their rules for what they do, which is respectable. I mean, you got to have the way you do things, and they're trying to fit it into this whole COVID-19 restriction, and it's a struggle. And he was like apologizing. He's like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have someone from your org here for 4 hours just sitting here. Um, but that's the way things have to be. And I was like, listen, it's not a problem. I will sit there for 4 hours if it means we get some money. So catch me September 9th, 5 to 9 p.m., chilling in DPDO. I will wave to you from 6 feet apart with my mask on. You should have yours on too. Be safe, but get some food. They have calzones and they're so freaking good. Delicious.
DPDO is a move. Also, just order so that you can go say hi to Bobby so that he doesn't sit there by himself for 4 hours.
I get lonely. It's bad.
Be a good human being.
Yeah.
And say hi to Bobby.
Come hang out with me.
Even
But
if
like
you
through
don't
the
order,
window.
walk by, wave.
Yeah, at least wave, please. Through the window. I'll be like, what's up? I got 3 more hours. So I don't know. I want to see a lot of. I'm curious. We haven't really jumped into online like sales of things much, so I think that's a really fun and unexplored realm for fundraising. Heal does put out some pretty awesome merch. Let me. Oh, my hair is gonna look nasty, but this is my nice little Heal hat. Look at
Look at
that.
hat.
Awesome. So we should do stuff like this. Like
Oh, yeah.
we'll see it. We'll see stuff like this. We'll have some sort of way to order it, and there's no putting this back on at this point. So, but we'll have some sort of way to some sort of way to order stuff like that, and just we gotta explore some new avenues.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to jump into those. And at the end of the day, looking down the line, this stuff's gonna eventually go away. We'll come back to normal or as close to normal as we ever can. And it'll be nice that we are exploring these new avenues now. And then in the future, this is just going to make us stronger. We're going to have more types of fundraisers, different revenue streams, different groups of people that we can get donations from, we can reach out to. And it's not just Heal that you're going to see this from. You're going to see this from all of Thon. So I guess in a way, sounds a little backwards, but I'm happy that this is happening because it's going to give us an opportunity to better ourselves and better this whole this whole fundraiser, and that's the point. And we're going to make more money to help more people, so that's what we want.
Yeah, I think the big keyword for this year, and interestingly enough, like I guess it was my junior year in my FR interview, they asked me like one keyword going forward if we were to get like a new family, and it was flexibility, and I think that applies here as well. We can't control circumstances outside of our control. The best thing we can do is work around them and try to set ourselves and everyone else up for the best outcome. So that just involves being flexible and taking a step back and reevaluating. And I think that we have a great team of exec and an even better org to do that. So I'm not super worried. I definitely think it'll be interesting, but I think that we'll absolutely get through this.
Morgan, have anything to add?
I totally agree. I do agree that this year's going to be one big year of flexibility, and I love that word. I think that'll be coming up a lot.
Right.
And I agree. I think even as donor relations, it's going to be a new year. A lot of ideas that we have, like reaching out more to alumni, reaching out to corporations, like big corporations, things like that, and kind of just tapping into things that maybe we haven't in the past, and just kind of never becoming comfortable in anything. I mean, I was on donor relations last year, and it's going to be a totally different year for that whole position. It's going to be a completely different year for every position, but I think that a great thing to remember is that everyone is going through this and everyone's facing these challenges. And in the end, I know it probably sounds cheesy, but it's true that it really will make us stronger. At the end of the day, it is pushing out of our comfort zone, and sometimes that is a good thing.
All right, so we are coming up on about 50 minutes. I think that's a good place to sort of wrap things up for this first podcast. Very proud of us that we talked for 50 minutes. I know we're really good at talking, but like this wasn't scripted or anything. Like we had, I texted Maggie earlier and I was like, hey, we're probably just going to talk about like Thawne. And that's literally all I said. And that's
Hope so.
only the most vague instructions for a podcast relating to Thawne, right? So I guess let's end with something fun. So we're planning to do this at like hopefully once a week. Who do you guys want to see on this podcast as a guest?
You're talking like me and Morgan. Well,
Yeah,
guess.
well, I mean, I'll go last. Yeah. So
Who else is
other
there?
than yourself, Maggie.
Okay, I think it would be super. Okay, I have two ideas, obviously.
Shoot.
I want our families on here at some point.
Yeah.
I think that would be great. Super cool.
Totally agree.
I
Yeah.
would love alumni to come back. If there's any way to get founding members of HEAL and hear their story, I think that would be great because we are at the point where we were started in 2011. We're getting past where people know founding members anymore. So I think that would be really cool. Or even just like alumni. I'd love to see like past people on here because I know so many people love HEAL and they still keep up with it. So yeah, if they're willing, please do it.
We'll see.
Bobby and Morgan are so easy to talk to. You'll be fine.
We try really hard.
Usually, me and Bobby's conversations are just us bickering back and forth at each other.
Usually,
and
yeah.
telling each other to stop talking. Mostly me telling Bobby to stop talking, but
It's fine.
a lot of love. I agree. I totally want both of our families to be on here if they are willing to be on here. I love hearing their stories every time that we get to see them, and just the infinite wisdom that both families always have. So definitely looking forward to that hopefully soon. And I think it's super fun for people who are listening, alumni, things like that, to be able to hear from them again. And I also am looking forward to alumni for sure. I know there will probably be people on here who we invite to come be on this podcast that me and Bobby have either only heard about in stories or have only met briefly before. And then I'm sure there'll be alumni on here that we did go to school with. But I think that's a super neat thing. And I really look forward to hearing those stories. And then I do hope to have some of our current members and current exec board on from HEAL. And then something that I think would be super fun. I know I'm just telling you everything right now.
Let's hear it, Mike.
Someone else that I think would be really fun is to be able to hear from some people from Four Diamonds, even other families, people who work at Hershey, and also maybe some of the Thawne executive directors and directors, because they definitely have some different experiences that maybe us as HEAL haven't really heard about, things like that. So I guess my answer is basically anyone and everyone who has any experience in Thawne, connection to HEAL, or anything like that. I think this is an awesome way to keep everyone informed, but also just to keep learning about Thawne. I think there's just so many things that we can grow from and learn from other people. So I guess if you want to join and you want to talk with us on this podcast and you love HEAL and you love Thawne, then bring it on. We are excited to talk to you.
Wow, you pretty much covered everything I was gonna hit. Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say I'm
not going sometimes. I just
right. You're good. You're on a roll. So yeah, I know it's the HEAL podcast or the HEAL cast, right? And it might be a little blasphemous to say this, but I wouldn't mind having, maybe some members of other orgs, other exec boards on here and just talking to them. And I really want this is starting as a HEAL podcast, but I really want it to expand to be something more than that. Maybe grow more outside of just being an info source for our members, but really an info source for Thawne in general. Thawne doesn't have its own podcast. They might see this and start their own and just leave us in the dust. And that's probably what will happen, and that's totally fine. And I'm sure a bunch of other orgs are going to see this, and they're going to hop on the train too, and that's awesome. I'm glad that we could start something like this, and if we're an inspiration to people and they start doing it themselves, even better. But yeah, I would love.
With you.
Yeah, right. Have us on yours so we can do it together.
We'll come on ours. We'll come on yours. Little guest appearances.
All right. So, Maggie, I see you're getting beckoned. So we'll go
I'm
ahead.
telling them to be quiet.
No, It's good. We've passed the 50-minute mark. I need to see if I'm even able to upload this to YouTube from our channel. We'll figure it out. We'll get it all set up. Thank you so much for hanging out with us and talking with us.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
Nice
yeah,
thank you. You will officially be our first ever guest.
Yay! I'm so
And I'm
excited.
sure
Right.
this will not be your first time or your last time coming on for sure.
no, you'll
I'm sure
you'll
you'll
be a very
Please.
reoccurring
I'm gonna force
character.
myself onto this
Right.
with you guys. This was so much fun.
Awesome.
But honestly, I just wanted to say to anyone like listening who might be new, heal is the best thing that's ever happened to me, and that's just like it. Like that's it. I love it. I love the people in heal. Please reach out to me. Follow us on Instagram, guys.
Yeah.
It's
What do you know
cool. It's
the
cool.
what's all our socials?
the
Plug
handle?
them.
I think it's heal FTK. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
But, not
It'll-
serious.
well,
I'm pretty sure.
If
sure
you're-
that's what it is.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you're watching this on YouTube, if I can put it there, I'll
Yeah,
link
that would be a
everything in
good
the
idea.
description.
At
Otherwise,
heal
we
_ PSU.
heal_PSU.
There you I was so wrong. So don't listen to me.
You're good. Morgan and I are gonna shoot an intro for this in like 10 minutes, so we'll go ahead and check that stuff out before, and we can plug it
But
in.
We'll just edit this
Also-
out. No.
Yeah, no, we're not editing this out. It's fine. I don't care.
If you're listening and you know a freshman coming to Penn State, please share this with them because, like I said, I struggled so much my freshman year. Mainly, I think because Penn State was so big and I couldn't find something to be involved with. But Heal was perfect for me. It was a small size. We do so many fun things. Like we obviously fundraise for Thon, but we get food together. People will go and sit on Old Main together. We do so many things together outside of just being involved in Thon. So it's a great opportunity, and especially during this time where you might not be able to find something to be involved with so easily, especially with like the virtual involvement fair and all that stuff. So please reach out to us and be a part of Heal because we would love to have you. So
All right. Thanks for wrapping things up. So yeah, thanks for being on. Really appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thank you
guys.
so
So
much.
yeah, I guess that's the end of things.
I guess so.
Thanks for hanging out with us, everyone. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Tune back next week, probably 2 weeks. I don't know. We don't have a schedule yet. We're working on it. Don't be afraid to give us some criticism, constructive criticism. Let us know what worked. Yeah, nah, you can be mean to me. I don't care. But let us know what worked, what doesn't work, what you want to see more of, what you want to see less of. But yeah, until next time.
Who
Be,
you want to hear from? For
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Be kind. Smile.
Stay
Be
safe.
nice
Stay
to
healthy.
everyone today.
Yeah, stay 6 feet apart.
Yeah.
See you guys.
Bye, guys.